Cool.
All right. It looks like StreamYard has added a new beta feature here, and they've given it a left-hand sidebar. And now my screen that I'm looking at is even smaller because their left-hand sidebar is taking more. We are live, by the way. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be waiting just a few minutes. I see, okay, we've got 20 or so people that have just joined. Excellent. Good to see you here. I wish I could hear your voices like always, but it's always good to have you here and to see you. If you are new here, well, let's stay with why don't you tell us where you're from? And we'll just get a little bit of interaction. Maybe somebody here could suggest a different question for me to ask at the beginning. You never know. Interactivity is good. We're going to wait just about 5 minutes so that people can join us, and then we'll kick the party off. That's amazing. I get almost everybody coming to the stream from direct emails. Over social media, I get a couple over X, even though I don't focus there at all. My account on X is nearly brand new. But on LinkedIn and Facebook, where I have invited quite a few people, we almost get, we get very few people through those platforms. Hello, welcome here. As you're coming in, just tell us where you're coming from. And of course, if you have any questions or any topics that you would like a future speaker to speak about, let us know in the chat. Hello, Daniel from Austin. Hey, that's the speaker. I want to see, there we go, Thomas. Thomas, you and I should get coffee sometime since you're in my neighborhood. I do like going to Ava's Roasteria if you ever want to go. And Robert, too.
Are you being a stereotypical Oregonite, if that's what it is? And like obsessed by coffee.
Yeah. I don't have my beard quite long enough yet. I don't know. I don't seem to have the genes to be able to grow it out. As much as I grow it out, my hair is too curly, so it just ends up going around like this. I think I talked to a friend of mine who had the long beard. He told me he spent almost 45 minutes to an hour each morning getting it to look just right. I'm not willing to do that.
So. I spend under 0.45 of a second to get this just right.
Right. I get into the shower and I shave like right here. Shave right here. Make sure my neck is good. Done.
I was going to say, I don't want that image to go any further. I'm glad you stopped here. We didn't need to know anything below that point.
Yeah, no other shaving.
This is not the call I thought it was going to be.
Well, we're hopefully adding a little entertainment here as people are joining. Hello, Bob Bach in Illinois. Excellent. I was married in Illinois. Hello, Dave from Salt Lake. I love that area. Good place to invest right now. Unoma, data scientist. I really enjoy taking data science courses. I haven't. There's quite a bit of data science actually in real estate, and quite a bit of the things that I do actually involves what I think would be considered data science, and certainly AI and machine learning. Hello, Jason from San Antonio. If you're new, just come in here, say hello, drop the location that you're from in the chat, and I'm from Hillsboro, Oregon. Our other speaker here, Daniel, is from Austin, did you say? Texas.
Yeah, Austin, Texas. Yeah. Listen to the accent, y'all. You can tell.
Y'all, where y'all is the second person plural verb or pronoun.
Wow. That's a data scientist kind of explanation of something.
But here's what a data scientist does too. So far this year, over the last 70 days, I have lost 20.3 pounds.
How? No, wait.
Eating
Congratulations.
Better. Going to the gym.
Wow. Really? Fantastic.
Yeah.
What does eating better mean? What can we learn from you?
So what I did was I cut out most carbohydrates.
I'm a fan of that.
Pretty low on carbohydrates. I usually have an egg or two eggs in the morning, salad with some protein at lunch, and then vegetable and protein at dinner. And when I need to go to the gym, if I need just a little bit more energy, I'll drink one of these protein drinks. But you got to make sure you get plenty of vegetables and plenty of fiber with this diet, though. Otherwise, it can be bad.
Interesting. Very good. Well, congratulations.
The other thing I did is I took my favorite television show and I told myself I would only watch it. Yeah, 2 eggs a day. I'm rich.
That's very funny, Bob.
I took my favorite TV show and I told myself I could only watch it if I am currently on a treadmill or a Stairmaster.
Interesting.
And I just finished season 2. So
congratulations. This is really good. I'm a health super geek, which I will cover a little bit of in what we talk about. So that's why I'm so intrigued.
Okay. Well, I'm down a little over 20 pounds and I have probably 30 to 35 more to go.
That's some way that you've gone. That's really good.
All right. If you have a topic that you want to hear about, I really want to hear, what does this group want to hear about in this club? This is, I hope, thank you, Jason. It's good to talk about your personal life sometimes. People enjoy that. Let me know what you're interested in hearing, because I'm bringing in, operators, and that is the point of this club, the Alternative Investing Club. Just to kind of kick things off, I guess, a little more formally, we're here to connect you with people that are in the investment sphere. These people are investing for themselves and oftentimes investing with other people. So they're looking for investors as well. Although, more weight loss tips. Thank you, Dennis. Although they're not necessarily all looking for investors. They may just be coming here in order to talk about their company. We bring in speakers in one of 3 different ways. Oops, that is not what I meant to hit right there. Sorry, Bob. We bring in speakers in one of 3 different ways. The first way is a purely educational talk. The speaker comes in. We have the Alternative Investing Club has no affiliation with them other than I thought that they would be a good speaker, and I did a pre-interview screening with them to make sure that they actually knew what they were talking about. The second way that we bring people in is to do a pitch. Probably about a year or 2 ago now, this club came to me and said, Daniel, there's a ton of great speakers. If you go to alternativeinvestingclub.com and click on speakers, we have almost 200 videos there that are over 1 hour each with speakers. And if you go to the YouTube channel, there's actually quite a few more. We've been at this every single Friday for the last 6.5 years. But that second speaker, people asked me to bring in pitches. So now we do pitches as well. And with the pitch, the Alternative Investing Club does not have any type of arrangement with them. We're not officially affiliated with them. We're bringing in a person to do a pitch here, and you directly contact them. We're not involved in it. So, and I don't even track it. So when oftentimes speakers will ask me, what sort of response do you get? And I have to answer, I am not exactly sure, because they all do what they want. So in the third way, I do track. Third way is a club fund speaker. And that is, we have a fund here at the Alternative Investing Club. It's called the Alternative Investing Club Fund, where we take key speakers that I've pre-vetted and pre-screened, and I think fit with the theme of this club, and also with the theme of the fund, which is to have a diversified set of business activities that generate passive income. Wow, I got to remember that phrase. That was well said.
It's catchy.
Anyway, Daniel's here. He's going to be giving us an educational talk. So let's kick it off. Feel the pressure. You're here to educate us.
Thank you, Daniel. That is what I'm here to do. Well, thank you for having me.
Here, I'll wait on the slides till
so thank you. How many people are here, by the way? I'm sure you can see a magical number.
We have currently 62.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here.
Honestly, it goes up and down quite a bit. Sometimes we get, over 100. Last week we had over 100. Right. So I don't know why it goes up and down.
I'm happy to be here. I am going to probably break with what was supposed to happen. Daniel's going to go, wait, what? So my understanding was there's going to be like a 30 to 45 minute kind of educational presentation. And then I asked Daniel, can we have some questions? He said, yeah, there's usually a little bit at the end. So I'd sort of pull the presentation together and it's got lots of beautiful slides. And I woke up this morning and had this one of those epiphany light bulb moments of, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know why. It's just, I'm just going to go with my heart. I'm going to give a bit of background and I want to try and open this up into deeper questions because I feel like I can sit here sharing what I think might be useful to you, but already people, well, the eggs thing we can talk about, but there's already the comment coming in of what people actually want to hear about and people are going to have questions. So I'm going to try and give enough information quickly enough to give some background, where's my special skill. And I'd like to try and open up to more questions. Now I can talk. So if a question comes, I can go off all sorts of fun tangents with it anyway. So we're not going to struggle to fill the time, but I want to try and give you guys what you need. So, okay, we'll go from there. Daniel,
Also,
can you go on? Sorry.
Daniel, I sometimes people have a presentation and it sounds like we're doing it a little bit differently here, but if you need me to monitor the questions and be a moderator for you, I can mark the key questions. I don't know if you get the little tab that says starred questions on your interface.
Not sure.
But if you do, here, I'll star a question, we'll see. But if you do get that, let me know.
I don't think I can see that. Oh, starred, yes, bingo.
Okay. There we go. So I'll be your moderator and make sure we pull out the key.
That'd be great. But yeah, Dan,
that way people are free to chat.
Exactly. If you can do the screen share thing and I can bring up my presentation, I'm going to use it just to prompt me on a few things, give you some background, and we'll kind of go from there. So the question for me is, can I run this as I would like to? Let's just double check. And it's presenting, and if I hit this magic button, there we go.
There we go.
Okay, let me give you the background. That's me. Obviously, you can see me anyway. This is my obituary, which I wrote a couple of years ago, and it gives me like my clarity and focus in life. So you guys would know why I'm even here today. Like, why do I want to spend an hour having this, conversation with you guys? That's my obituary. He helped people get close to their true potential and help the world become healthier and more peaceful. That's why I believe I was put here. After 48 years, I finally got to a real understanding of what my place is in this world, this universe, etc. And if I can help you guys achieve something in some way, something positive in your life, that fulfills me. And I always seem to get what I want in life if I give that stuff to others. It can sound cheesy, but I really believe in that thing. Whatever you need will come if you go and try and give it all to other people. So I just think it's good to know where I'm at. And by the way, it's August 2100 because that will mean I've lived through 3 centuries. I'll be 124. So wish me luck. But with the way AI is going, maybe that's really realistic. That's what makes me tick. That's my family. I'm married with a beautiful wife, 5 kids, a couple of grandchildren, and a cute dog who is actually on the floor right now looking exactly like that. You may tell that I'm not from Texas originally. I am British. I used to run a big chain of jewelry stores in the UK. I sold that. Emigrated 10 years ago, went to California initially. That was not my forever place. I got into flipping houses and doing rentals and so on all around the country. And then eventually higher end new construction. That's a California one. And then just over 6 years ago, I'll come back to that, we moved to Austin, Texas. This is our forever place. This is all, other than my eldest who's moved back to the UK, this is where we're all based. I've operated across the country in real estate, everything residential. So you name it, I've built, I've flipped houses, I've held rentals, I've done single family, small multifamily, full apartment building, a bit of all of it, all over the place. So I've got nice wide experience, and there could be plus and minuses on some of these, because on some of those I've made a fortune in those areas and some I've lost a fortune. I mean, it's the nature of real estate is extreme ups and downs, and individual projects and areas can be surprisingly good and surprisingly bad. And we're going to come back to all of that. But Austin is my place now. And I've narrowed my focus over the last 6 years of being in Austin. And our business now is solely focused on new construction spec homes. So not custom. It's not that an individual is coming along ordering a house from us. We are speculatively buying up little pieces of land, mostly in the city, actually in Austin itself, say 5 to 20 minutes from downtown. But we also hit some suburbs and some of the little towns further afield as well, always trying to diversify. And we speculatively buy a piece of land. We design a home or homes. It's common that we build 2 or 3 on a lot in Austin. I can come back to that. And we do the design in-house, we go through the permitting, and then we're the GC, we are the builder ourselves as well. And we build the home and then we sell, and that's it. We just buy, design, build, sell. And this is just one example of the kind of home that we do. And it's everything from, I think, as low as 450,000 to about 2.5 million and everything in between. I like either side of $1 million because it's a wider market, more opportunities, but I like to keep it quite varied. We're on the modern side. That's really based on what Austin wants, or the Austin buyer wants. That's our team. And that team includes my wife and my daughter because they actually have a design business. So we're actually farming out more of our design to them because I'm pretty good at design, but she kicks ass. So we're much better outsourcing. I'm going to skip some of these because, as I said to you, some of these things, I suddenly woke up this morning and thought, I don't need to be getting into that right now. I'm going to keep it simple. But that's our process, very simple. We go through our own underwriting process that involves about 10 different people, some within the business and a number of trusted partners when we look at any piece of land. Designers in-house other than the architectural piece. So we'll pull in one of our trusted architects, but we manage the entire design, and we design every one of these spec homes like it's a custom home. So we create an avatar of the end, the hypothetical end buyer. Well, we think this will be a young couple, probably moved from California, no kids yet, whatever it might be. And then we design that house accordingly for them. And that's the image we have in mind all the way through the process. And as I say, we build in-house. We don't have contractors as in actual trades in-house, but we've got lots of trusted suppliers, and then we manage that. We try and pre-sell our homes. Our realtors are involved with us from day one. So right through the design and build process, the realtor is on board, marketing our houses sort of unofficially. And about 1 time in 3, we seem to pre-sell, which is really cool. Somebody actually puts down a non-refundable deposit to say, when that house is done, it's mine. So it's a great commitment to have, but we never rely on it. We assume that every house is going to get finished, staged, photographed, go on the market, someone see it on Zillow or an open house or whatever, and go through that full process. And then we just go again. That's the circle we go around. I'm going to skip some of this. There's one thing I'll leave in there, actually, that very first point. Did you know, it depends which reports you read, but there's somewhere between 4 and 8 million home shortage in this country. And that's true still as of about 3 months ago. And the country needs more new homes, all different price points, especially on the more affordable side. So Austin, the more affordable in Austin is sort of 500 to $1 million-ish. It's funny how prices have changed. But that need is there, and this country's population is still growing, and there's an ever greater need for new homes. So we're drawn to new construction for that reason. I also love new construction for myself because I love design, and because I'm a slight control freak. I can hear my wife saying that in my head right now. I kind of get to create what I want to create. When we're flipping houses, it was always the frustration that I can't quite do what I want because the home that's already there is a certain way. And for me, there was always the extra risk of you didn't always know what you were buying until you crack a wall open and discover there's a problem. I like new construction because it's truly ground up. And if I've done my due diligence properly, I know before I close on that piece of land what I can build. And I say that previous comment about doing due diligence properly because this is where I'm going to start to get a little bit into advice mode. I think everyone should be invested in real estate in some shape or form. I don't think many people should do it directly themselves. And that's because when you do it on the side, there's a reason there's loads of great shows on like HDTV and so on, showing the flip or the new construction story that went wrong. And then the TV personality comes in to save the day, because it's really easy to find a lot of those. And like almost anything in life, playing at the thing, unless it's purely for the joy and the entertainment, can be very, very expensive. And not going into it properly is a challenge. And the number of times you hear the story of, I bought the crappy house down the street because it was falling down, it was a great deal, so I could flip it. Right, but was that a good deal, or is it just based on the fact that it's down your street, so you've got immense biases? or you put all your focus, all your eggs in one basket of building one house or some small deal somewhere, and you've got normal life to carry on with. You've got your data analysis full-time job and your family and all the other stuff, and you're going to squeeze in being a home developer on the side. And I'm forever hearing how that goes wrong. And I've experienced it myself, and I'm never going to be overconfident. I'm always learning. But in general terms, we know what we're doing, and we still have some that don't work out well. Not every deal goes well, but we know what we're doing, and we do it every day. And it always worries me when people just go off and play at real estate on their own. So I think it should always be done through somebody else. Obviously, we're one of those somebody else's, but I genuinely don't want this to be a pitch right here, right now. There's so many amazing opportunities out there. But like I say, just rewinding back, new construction for me is the best place because I know how to do my due diligence right. I cannot guarantee anything, but I can almost always be certain that I will get to build the thing that I believe I can build because of the work we do up front. You know, people always say you make your money on the buy, but it's not just the price that you buy it at, it's buying the right thing in the first place. Lots of data about why I love Austin, even though Austin has bad headlines recently, it's nothing to worry about, genuinely. In fact, that's a great little graph. That just shows Austin's prices. It shows the freak blip of COVID, which was a nightmare. And it actually shows that the pricing now is back to where it probably should be in the long term. And it looks like it's going to keep going that way. So Austin price depression in the last couple of years is a good thing because we're kind of back to where prices should be. And it's why now the market is reasonable and shows sign of ever strengthening again. So I like my Austin. I'm not going to get into that sales pitch. I'm going to show you some pretty pictures of some of our homes, all different prices. This is quite interesting. This is where we commonly do 2 or 3 homes on a lot, which sounds weird if you're not from Austin or haven't experienced it. So because of the city's huge growth, about 10, 11 years ago, they brought in a rule that kind of said, hey, if you want to build 2 houses on one piece of land, we're going to make it really easy for you. You don't have to subdivide. You don't have to do anything special. You can just go do it. You can sell them separately to separate buyers. Very few hoops to jump through, but we know we need more density of homes because everyone's moving to Austin. And then about a year and a half ago, they were like, you know what, we're getting full again. And there's still more people moving here. And all the forecasts that this city will keep growing. So now we'll make it 3 homes on one piece of land. So, we might buy a 10,000 square foot lot and build 3 homes on there of a couple of thousand square feet each. And each one has their own little backyard and a bit of privacy and so on. And you would think, I think, if you're not from here, that sells, that works. But there's thousands and thousands of these. It's an Austin thing. It works in Austin and it's great. That's just a perfect example there. 2 homes, B1 and B2, building 1, building 2, that we constructed. That's more the higher end for us, a couple of million. Duck not included. And now I'm just showing off because I know that these look really nice. This is just to give you a little sense of this new thing of building 3 homes on a lot. So we're developing some at the moment. So this one's kind of quirky. We're splitting this lot up. So this, try and get the view here. This is the full lot if you're not used to seeing these kinds of plans. And we're building 1 bigger house off the main street with a pool and everything else, a couple of thousand square feet. And then over the back here, because there's a little back alley, we're going to build a duplex. So 2 smaller homes that we can sell. So this will be like a $1.2 million house. And these 2 will be about 500K each. And it's just a great way of using the land in different ways. I like the diversification. It's not 3 homes the same. It's very different buyers, different price points in the market, which to me is just a good way of hedging our bets. Here's another one. Slightly different. This one, again, these are a bit ugly to look at, but you just get a feel. There's a piece of land. They almost always have some old crappy shack on them that needs knocking down. And then we're building 3 new homes, 1 slightly different to the other 2, gets a bigger yard and everything else. And that just gives you an early stage mock-up of what those will be like. And for a change, because we like this, as in my wife and I, we're going for something a little more classical because there's not much of this around in Austin, but there's enough love for them, especially from the younger buyers coming through, for a bit of an old school look that we think there's a nice market for those. Just give you a sense of this 3 on a lot thing and where that's going. I'm not going to get too much into our projects right now because I do not want this to be a pitch. Let's skip all that. Okay, I'm going to come out of that now.
Having said that, there are an awful lot of engineers on this call. If you wanted to go into the numbers, I'm sure people
really
would appreciate it.
Okay, I can play. I'll go full screen properly on that again then. Okay, so this is an example project. So we bought a piece of land for $625,000. We built on it for just shy of $1 million, 950K. And this one, which one was this? Oh, this was Garden Villa. So this was one of the large single homes, 3,500 square foot homes, kind of thing we do a lot less often because it's such a small market. I always get a bit nervous. Nervous is the wrong term. I am calmly aware of the risks of building spec homes at $2, $3, $4, $5 million because your market's so teeny tiny and your buyer is so particular. And that's where getting into custom homes is probably the safer place. So I don't do many of these, but the odd one pops up where the margins are so enormous. You sort of say, well, if it didn't quite go to plan and I hack the sales price down because I just have to get rid of it, can I still actually make a bit of money? Yeah, probably. So that's where I sort of make that decision. It's not very scientific, but it's just judging how I underwrite. So yeah, we did a 600K purchase, a nearly $1 million build. We have loan costs in there because we always use construction loans. So for us, it's how we get volume. You know, if I want to buy a piece of land for 600K for cash, that 600K, build it, you know, that's $1.5 million of cash I've got to have to go run that thing. Whereas I actually only need about 600K of cash to do a deal like this if I use good leverage. Small amount on the lot purchase, 100% of the construction cost. And yes, of course, I've then got my couple of $100,000 of loan costs and some other holding costs in there. But I now get to go almost three of these for that $1.5 million of cash I would have put aside. And I'm going to say this intentionally flippantly. I don't care about my return on one project in isolation. I care about the overall story. And for me, doing 3 of these, using that $1.5 million across 3, even though there's expensive construction loans where I'm paying, 11% or whatever else it might be, my total return will be significantly higher using this leverage. So that for me is really important. And actually, I noticed the question. I'm sorry, I can't see it right now, but whoever asked the question before we started properly about how do I get into real estate and do I need lots of cash or should I use debt? I always feel like no one should answer the question for another person. So I'm going to answer it for myself. For me, with the confidence of I know what I'm doing and I'm spreading the risks and doing lots of them, I believe wholeheartedly in using real estate debt to get volume going in real estate, because it's also how you get to spread the risk faster as well. So if 1 of 3 goes wrong, sounds dramatic. If 1 of the 3 isn't as successful as I'd like it to be, the other 2 probably are. And what do I care about? I care about how I do overall across those 3. I might go pure cash, no leverage into one deal. Feels good. That's sort of, I don't have debt. Like the word debt is a negative. Well, that's down to perception and there's views both ways. I argue that debt used well is a beautiful thing. And all my money's in that one. My cash return might be bigger, but my cash on cash return will be lower. And if that happens to be the one that didn't perform so well, that's it. I've got no other safety net. That one didn't do well, and now I'm really disappointed. And I'm not able to spread the risk very well. So I love volume as a very simple way of spreading the risk. So I've answered a question already. Go for it, Daniel.
Oh, we've got a couple of questions about the loan itself.
Hit me.
And I think there was an initial bit of confusion over, was $175,000 the entire loan, or is that just representing the interest you're paying?
No, it's a good point. So what I'm showing here is the cost to me. So our loan here will have been, we bought a piece of land for 625. We probably put about 250, 300 into that ourselves, meaning we borrowed about 350 on the lot acquisition. And then the 950K of construction, we will borrow 100% of that. The cost for us to do that over the course of holding this piece of land, over the course of the loan, was $175,000. So that was a cost to us to borrow that money. And therefore,
what sort of terms are you seeing on your loans? I'm interested. So you've got a construction loan here. It's as RA points out in the comments, it's probably only for 1 or 2 years. What sort do you get any sort of? I know in the commercial world you can negotiate the interest only periods. What terms are you getting?
Great question. So I get access to things that maybe not everybody would because of how many years we've been doing it, and the track record, and the fact we're doing it on a larger scale. So I can't say for sure whether an individual could go and get the same deal, but the concept of it is generally available. So as I say, we tend to get around a 60% loan on the purchase of the land, as in if it was a $100,000 piece of land, they'll put 60 grand in and you put the other 40 in. And then on the construction itself, it's not uncommon to get at least a 90% loan, but it's common to actually get 100% of the construction. The rate tends to be right now about 10 to 12%, which sounds horrifically high because people are thinking of their personal mortgage at, say, 7%, but it's a commercial deal and you just build those numbers in to your pro forma to decide, does this make sense or not? But at a commercial level, that's very, very normal. Whoever said it is right. I'm not looking at that question screen right now. It's commonly a 1 to 2 year loan. We make sure we always get 2 years, but if we clear it early, we're out in 15 months, we're not going to pay beyond the 15 months. So it's not costing us extra. So we always err on the side of caution and build in a 2 year loan in case there's some unexpected delays. There might be a couple of points up front as well of an arrangement fee. So you have to have a good bit of cash up front. Go on, Daniel.
Oh, I was going to say, I assume, therefore, there's no prepayment penalties.
No prepayments. That's very, very rare on a construction loan.
Yeah.
And then what most loans are based on is what's called non-Dutch interest. And actually, let me say this. If you do new construction or a flip, make sure it's non-Dutch interest. So on day one of this, I go buy that piece of land and I'm borrowing, let's just say it was $400,000. Okay. The construction loan is already there. $950,000 is available. They don't give me the cash. So I don't want to pay interest on it. Well, a Dutch loan, I'd be paying interest on all of it. On a non-Dutch, I'm not paying interest on it because I don't have that money yet. What they say is, your loan is available, go do some work and we'll give you that bit back. So we go, great. We go and design the home, get the architect's plans, demo the old house, and pour foundation, ready for the new home. So let's just say we spent $100,000. We go to them and then say, hey, lender, we just spent $100,000. Here's all the evidence of that. Here's even the pretty pictures, because they tend to take photos these days of that work having been done. You can now see it. And here's the stamp plans and all this stuff. Please, can we have our $100,000 back, please? And they go, yeah, no problem. There's that $100,000 back. That's pulled from the $950. From that day, we start paying interest now on, say, $500K, because we've got the $400 for the land and now $100 the construction loan. So the interest is being reworked out. So as you're pulling down the funds for the construction loan, your interest is working its way up. So that's very important. So non-Dutch is vital. Otherwise, you're paying much higher interest costs.
I assume you're getting these loans from a third party, or are they bank loans?
No, it's specialist hard money construction lenders. Yeah. So you've got to get to a serious scale with a massive track record for a more traditional bank to say, we'll back you on stuff like this. But actually, even when you do, there's not many banks that will actually go to 100% of construction. So people are like, oh, but if you get in with a bank, you might pay a few points less. Yeah, but if I pay 6 or 7% instead of 12, but I'm going to have to put more cash in, what's my true cash on cash return? What's my real annual return here? Am I better off or not? So you've got to be careful with that. So it's specialist hard money construction lenders, or
you're also going to pay. You're also going to pay for it in terms of the number of hours you're going to be working on the documents that they want.
That's a really good point. Yeah, no, you're right.
Whether it's you or whether you're hiring someone to do it, there's just a lot more
hoops and cost of those hoops. That's a really, really good point. So we're pulling down the money over time. This is a really, really important one. Many builders or private individuals just playing this game on their own go wrong, horribly wrong, because they don't have enough working capital. So, but like I say, that 950,000 is kind of sat there available. We have to do the work first and then we get it back. Then we do more work and we get it back, which means you need that working capital, that piece of cash to go and do that work. And we've fallen foul of it. We've been there and it's the best way to learn. You have to suffer the pain of it. Well, we've been in the position we've gone, we're halfway through a project or a bunch of projects at the same time, and our total cash level is dropping really, really low. And there's millions of dollars of loans available to us in theory, but I can't afford to do more work on these houses to get that. And they go, really sorry about that. Now we found our way through it. And now we run our numbers differently and we have a different kind of safety net to make sure that it doesn't happen again. and we make sure we keep a good amount of cash in the bank at all times, and we fluctuate like that. You don't want too much money just sat there, because then your money's not making any money. So this is the challenge of the game, is the desire to use the money well, but not crossing the line of getting too greedy and investing even more of it and then not having the capital. So you need free capital. And also, the less homes you're doing, the more you need. So if I was just doing, say, 3 projects, I'd be wanting to keep at least 20%, maybe more, of the construction budget aside. So on a 950, call it $1 million just for round numbers, I want a good couple of $100,000 sat there, because sometimes I need to go and do a couple of $100,000 of work before I can draw these large amounts down to keep moving. Now, another advantage of scale is if I've got 10 of these, I don't actually need $2 million sat there, because it's all fluctuating up and down different ways. I might be able to get away with 1 or 1.5 million, which now means my returns are even better because I'm holding less cash, which is invested. So an advantage of scale can kick in there. So this is a really, really important point if you want to go and play this game on your own, which again is why I'm a fan of have somebody else do it for you. Pay a professional to do it and know that you can get a good return, maybe not as good, but without the risk, or massively minimize that risk. So for
Daniel.
us, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, is this a good moment to interject some questions?
Sure.
Ruben is asking, where do I start with real estate? Do I have to have lots of money to start, or go into significant debt? So, and maybe you could even broaden the scope of this a little bit, just to what are your starting tips for people that want to get started in this game?
So, okay, I believe in extreme transparency. I had an easy way in. I'd sold my old business, so I had a chunk of money. I fell into real estate, but it was a lot easier on day one because I had enough money to go and do a good amount of work straight away. I immediately, though, grabbed the debt principle, the borrowing to create volume, and that was an important part of my success. Could I have got there without that and been more patient with it? Yes, for sure as well. I could have done, one deal at a time, more carefully, more cautiously. It's not my specialist field, but I know a little about it. There is a field of private money lending work where if you've not got the chunk of cash you need up front, but you've got the eye and the desire and the mindset and the willingness to learn and all the other chutzpah or entrepreneurial ability, or whatever words you like, but you just haven't got the capital to get started. I hear stories all the time, anecdotes, there's podcasts on it, there's books on it and so on, about the person that finds the deal, plans the whole thing out, and then goes and finds the person with the money. So they go and find the person who is busy with their normal job and life and so on, but is making tons and tons of money and needs places to put it. And they find that relationship and tap up that person and say, hey, you should be in some real estate. I'm young and full of energy and I'm going to go do this thing, but I don't have the money. You back me. I'll go do the thing. You take a big profit share for doing none of the work, but you're taking the risk more financially. I've got to get this right. Otherwise, you'll never back me ever again, which is why you should be able to trust in me. And sometimes the person with the money and the person with the desire come together and get the ball rolling that way. And there's lots of great success stories of that. I am not an expert in how do you do this outside of that without the money. Because at the end of the day, how do you buy anything with no money? Well, someone's money is needed. I don't know, how do you feel about that, Daniel? Have you come across people that play that game?
I mean, there are, in construction, I don't see any way of getting around it without, getting the money either yourself and then borrowing on top of that. I mean, there are people that get into quote unquote real estate by, doing options or seller finance contracts.
Yes, good point on seller financing. Yeah.
But yeah, seller financing might be an option possibly if you can get somebody who wants to build their house. But in the end, you're still borrowing and using their money.
Yes. So. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all about that starting point, whether it's your money or somebody else's, but you need it in some way. Okay, hit me with another question.
All right. Pekan Gupta is asking, can you share any pitfalls of buying land for investment?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. I'm going to super simplify it because I've been there. You buy the thing with confidence, knowing what you are going to build, and then you were wrong to be confident because you can't build the thing that you were going to build, and now you're stuck with the piece of land, or you have to sell it off at some reduced price or whatever you have to do. That's it. I mean, I'm being overly simplistic, but it can be dramatic because you spend serious money on a piece of land and you can't go build the thing. Well, not only are you stuck there, but then what do you do with it? So that's where I said at the beginning, the due diligence on the acquisition is huge. Every city, every county, across every state, across this great big country, it's, different rules and regulations and so on. So I can't give specifics on each place where somebody could be looking, but my belief is that the way to go is finding a local expert that actually specializes. It's their job, it's their living in helping people do the due diligence piece on new construction. So for example, we work with an external expediter. His job is literally to speed up planning permission and getting permits really quickly. We tend to get permits in Austin in 4 weeks when most people take 3 to 6 months. And no one ever believes us, but I keep doing it in 4 weeks over and over and over. Why? Because this guy advises us, we now do it right. So when we go in for permitting, we're sorted. But he's in right at the beginning before I even put a deposit down. Sometimes before I even put a few $100 option down on the piece of land, he takes a quick look and often just goes, don't buy it because of this funny quirk with that particular subdivision, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You might have a problem with such and such. Great, gone. So deep due diligence on that. You got to understand the local rules. You need to maybe, if it's your early days, it'd be speaking to people within the planning, permitting part of your city, trying to build personal relationships and asking people, guide me, teach me, why might this be a problem? A really good realtor should be able to advise that as well. Just be careful. And I would even say this to our realtors who I adore. They have the challenge, as anybody does, of when the way you earn money is against giving people the advice against the thing, that can be a challenge. So any realtor will have a natural bias to wanting you to buy a thing. Now, if they're a really good one, they're going to look beyond that and go to, I want you to buy a thing to build something so I can then sell the houses which are worth an awful lot more commission-wise to me at the other end. I want you to do it over and over and over and help you be successful. But there's still, you want to be sure that are they being as cautious as can be. Most realtors, let's assume, are not going to be cautious enough because of that financial bias. You're going to pull in all this experience. And this again is where the risk will always come into play. And that's why I can say we've been there and why I answered so dramatically. We've had a couple where it was like, that did not go well because we missed something in the early due diligence. This is a few years ago, before I now know what I know and before we have a system, a process that's multi-pages long that we go through before we put any lot under contract, or at least we'll put them under an option period where you get a few weeks for a few $100. But before we come out of option and actually commit, we have to jump through so many of our own self-enforced hoops to make sure we know we can build X. And it's 99.99% certain that we can.
So would it be your advice then that somebody, the majority of the people that are on this call are full-time employed people and they've got busy lives. Just to give a personal example here, my parents designed and built, or they didn't build it personally, but they designed and hired other people to build the house that they are in. And granted, they were in California, but I remember this process took about 7 years. And I don't know if they were, they probably spent a year or two taking time off. I was young at the time. I don't know. But is it your advice that people that are busy like this should really rely on that local person? Or are there any circumstances where a person could really dig in and design their own and figure out the permitting? Do you absolutely always need that more experienced person? Or could it be a passion project, I guess is what I'm asking.
Okay. My opinion, it could be a passion project, but in my opinion, a passion project is not designed to be financially successful always because it's a passion project. It's often very much in the terminology. I do this thing for the love. If you are willing to risk that and do it for the love and the passion and so on, knowing that, hey, this might go wrong and I could lose however many zeros you want to be talking about, eyes wide open, knock yourself out. Hell of a way to learn. You might do brilliantly. If you don't, as long as you are a learn and implement new skills kind of person, there'll still be a benefit. But you've got to know it. That's why it's a great term that you use. You've got to know it's a passion project, and that has a huge risk to it. I just think that anything that isn't done with clear focus, the sort of side hustle thing, can be so dangerous. Like, I'm a fan of the idea of the side hustle. It's this new, I don't know if any of us even knew the term 10 years ago, but everyone's got a side hustle. But it just means we've got multiple streams of income. I think that's genius. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant thing. I think where everyone goes wrong, because we live in this TikTok, Instagram world, it's just, oh, I'll get into 5 different things all at once. Well, no, because then you're in none all at once. And that's why those people tend to not be successful. The people that are successful, in my opinion, are the people that go all in deeply in the one thing, get that thing to the level where it can be fairly sustaining, then move to the next thing, and they go again. And that is a great way of ramping up a next thing. Your ultimate example would be like a Richard Branson person who's in hundreds of businesses. But each one gets full focus. If you are busy in your full-time work, I don't know how you give it the full focus, and that's what would make me nervous.
Absolutely. All right, two quick related questions from the audience here. Brooke is asking, do you only invest in Austin?
I'm going to call it Central Texas. So if it's influenced by Austin, that's where we've narrowed to now. So as far north as Temple, which is a town like an hour north of Austin, we look at a bunch of the suburbs, kind of halfway towards San Antonio, and I'm really open. But the way we do it is that if there weren't the right opportunities in Austin, or Austin's underperforming and Dallas is doing great, then no problem. I've done it all over the country before. We'll go do Dallas. We'll go do anywhere else. But I don't have a need to go further afield. So life is easier with it all being kind of on my doorstep.
All right. And MM is asking, what criteria do you use for due diligence in Central Texas?
I guess I mentioned some of it. I'll try and give you the really short version. So piece of land comes to us. I don't want any information other than factual things from the realtor. So I don't want his opinion on what it's worth and everything else. I don't want to be influenced initially. I just want him to tell me it's this specific area where you're allowed to do the following, like something that's just purely factual. Great, thank you. I take it. I say to him, what would you want to build there in your opinion? As in, what would you think would sell well? Oh, I think we should do a 14, a 16, and an 1,800 square foot house, 3 home. Great, thank you. I then get onto the MLS, do deep due diligence, just looking at all the comps in terms of what's sold at those various sizes in that area, what hasn't sold, what's on the market, how long they've been on the market, what's on the market now, what are days on market. I'm just trying to get that whole feel of where is the market and where's it going. I need to know the area, and if I don't get in the car and go and drive around and look for that very gut sense of, am I seeing enough homes that are new, enough that are under construction, and enough that haven't been touched yet to tell me this is definitely an up-and-coming area with plenty of room to grow, but I'm not too early. I then ask him to send me, or her to send me, their comparisons of what they believe these supposed 3 homes would sell for, compare it to my own. If those numbers are the same or very similar, great. We can see the same exit vision. If there's a big discrepancy, need to get into why is that. I err on the side of caution. I then work up the construction cost, which we can just do based on previous homes we've done recently. Well, we know that approximately X per square foot for a situation like this, it's a bit bigger than usual, so there'll be slightly higher cost for landscaping. We know our budget would be approximately, boom, $1 million, whatever it is. And I throw all the numbers into a proprietary spreadsheet that were built over the years that helps me sort of kick out, well, what's my likely build time, what are all my holding costs, and how profitable is it? But then the key is this wider due diligence piece. So we go to an expediter, usually another realtor, a water tap specialist, and sometimes 1 or 2 other people. Oh, always the architect, whichever architect we're going to use. We go to all of them and individually ask them, we're planning on X, Y, and Z here. What do you think? Give us your feedback. Tell us the pitfalls, the problems, and we're looking for someone to find a problem. And it's only once we've gone through all of that do we proceed. As far as the proceeding, I'll just finish this spreadsheet actually. This particular example, it was nearly $1.8 million all in. We sold it for about 2.3, which is over 2.1 net because there's big realtor fees and a few other costs and so on. So we made $350,000 profit. Is that good or bad? Well, that comes into the below the line. In terms of cash we needed, I'm not going to break this down right now, but we needed about $650K of cash put aside for this whole project. So that was what was required in terms of buying the piece of land, having the working capital, other holding costs, whatever else, it was $650. So our return was 350 on 650, which was over 50%, which is a good return. That's a nice solid return. We won't touch anything if that number's lower than 40, because we know we need the give. If the market drops way beyond our cautious underwriting, we know that something at 40, you can usually discount down enough and sell and still see a positive. It might not be a very big positive, but even in a bad market, other than maybe a 2008, we know we can still make money if the normal underwriting is over 40%. And that's kind of how we judge it. So all those things have to hit for us to go, let's buy that piece of land.
All right, a follow-up question here. Actually, I'm going to interject my own question here.
Cool.
Because I see the project that you've shown us here, but I'm curious, is this, I think you mentioned that this was kind of a more expensive project that you normally do. And so I wanted to ask you, what's more your typical project? And of course, the question that all the marketers are always asked, who's the avatar of your customer? Who are you building this for? Are you building it for, who are you building it for?
I'll do the second one first. So we're building it for a different person each time. As I mentioned earlier that we play with the avatar of who we think this is. So if I went back actually to, like, here you go, these are going to be 1,300 square foot homes, 3-bed, 2.5 bath. And so you're squeezing that in and they're going to be 750, something like that kind of price, about $750,000 each, which is in that affordable kind of level with Austin. So that's young professionals is the simplicity we have in our head. So the stereotype person that we create is they've probably moved from the Bay Area in California. They're probably already here in Austin. One or both of them are in a tech job. They may or may not have one child, unlikely, but maybe not far away from it. And we sort of build this image up of what that person would want. Then you jump to, a home like this one. Actually, let me find the pretty picture. A home like this, which was over $2 million, which is similar price point to this one on the pro forma. And it's a different thing. And it's sort of, we assume they're well into their 30s. We assume they've got 2 kids, that school will matter. Travelability and walkability is more important. They're willing to spend, but they're still not quite at the high custom level. So we need to work out what quality features they're going to be looking for, that we can afford to put in. And it's just that game. So that's the game we're playing. Now, you asked a 2-part question, and I answered the second part first, and I've forgotten what the first part was.
I think I have too.
Let's go on to the next one. Test if everybody was listening. If someone can tell us what Daniel's excellent question was, we can go with it.
We have other excellent questions in the chat though. So MM is asking, it's like one of these interview questions where you say, hey, what are your weaknesses? He's asking what areas in your process do you see the opportunity for the most improvement? Nice. And where's the most inefficiency?
I love that.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna ask one question at a time.
Yeah, let me take that.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, definitely. Write it down. That's a great question. Thank you. So it's a couple of things. One is systems and automation that can improve the most. So I'm not going to call myself an AI geek like I understand programming, but I'm very into AI, have been for over 1.5 years, in terms of my belief is it's going to change the world more than any other revolution that we've had in the next few years. I think it's going to be incredible. There'll be good and bad because of that. But I don't believe there's a way of denying the fact that it will be dramatic change, whether you like that or not, or it's a blend of both. So I'm trying to be in it to make sure we're leading in that. And we do an awful lot that's still manual, less than it was, but using AI right and clever systems right to automate more is key. So we're on that journey already. And every time we think, hey, do we need to employ more people? We kind of go, well, let's just say we couldn't and we had to improve our systems instead. And we find a way of automating more, of simplifying more using this very fast growing technology. But I would argue in terms of what's possible and where we are, we might be ahead of quite a few others, but I think there's a really long way to go. So we're building more and more time into focusing deeply on projects that can automate and systemize things. So that's a big growth area.
I'm going to piggyback on that thought right there. This
Please.
club, there's a lot of people that are good engineers, and I personally, for this club, want to start working on some AI software projects that will help all of us invest better. And there, maybe down the line are opportunities for that in jobs as well. So if you're interested in helping put together some AI tools for, creating underwriting or market reports or any sort of real estate related or passive investing related tools, I think we're just going to be doing open source stuff and putting it up on the Alternative Investing Club site for a little while. But I'd love to meet the people that are interested in that.
That's really cool. I'm going to answer sort of a second part of that question, which was, or I think I said, there's kind of two key things. The other area for growth for us, or barrier, or whatever you want to call it, is belief, mindset. So as I said with my little obituary at the beginning, I'm all about helping people get close to their potential. I believe that, I'm going to go slight tangent here. I believe that no human in history has ever reached their ultimate potential, because I don't believe there's a cap. So no matter, however you define success, and we can debate what that is, and I don't want to get into the philosophy of that, whatever one defines as success, the most successful person in all of history, in whatever your definition is, could have been even more successful. And I actually like that. I think it's a good thing. I don't ever want to be in a place where I feel like I can't learn more, I can't get better. Oh, I've mastered that thing now. For me, mastery means you get incredibly good at a thing, but then keep getting ever better. That in itself is mastery. So I think it's an amazing thing. I mention that, as I say, because it's a personal passion of mine, is helping others achieve greater, getting closer to that maximum, even though there isn't one. I know it's a dichotomous thing to say. So one of the biggest barriers for us was when I started turning around to our team a couple of years ago saying, I want to start building houses in 7 or 8 months. I'm like, it can't be done. I'm like, why can't it be done? And they give me all the reasons. I'm like, yeah, but it can be done, because here, factually, I can show you the following, which is my evidence that it can be done. Yes, it was a rare situation and everything else, but it can be done. But if they don't believe it can be done, then we're not going to start building houses in 7 or 8 months, or carry on building them in 12 months or 15 months or whatever the timeline was back when we first talked about this. Over time, they eked away at it, and I got into their heads more, and they started to find ways of building faster. And then a point came a few months back where a couple of members of the team had an experience, which I'm not going to get into now, but experience hit them where they were like, we actually know how to build a house in about 8 months now. And they believed it. Now, nothing had actually changed other than their belief because of what they were exposed to. So I believe that we've got some big fundraisers going on at the moment. We've got 2 separate funds, and I'm looking to raise around $15 million this year, because I want to jump from building 15 homes at a time to 50 at a time. Now, if I believe that I can raise that much money and take that jump, I'm much more likely to actually raise that money and take that jump than if I don't believe that, which sounds blindingly obvious, but I think there's a depth that's really important. So I have to believe that, and I have evidence of why I will raise that money and why I can build that many homes successfully. And then my team has to believe that they can deliver the homes as quickly as, and it's become self-perpetuating. So working deeply on that psychological piece, I think is huge. And as a leader in a business, I think that's one of my side things, nothing to do with investing. Well, you could say it is investing in people. I don't think there's anything much more important if you're in any kind of leadership role, is investing in helping other people grow. And the more they believe in what they're capable of, then the more everybody will benefit.
I love those two things. We're starting to run up against the hour. We've got less than 1 minute left. Hey, Daniel, can you leave your contact information so that people can get in touch with you?
Yes. So hang on.
And we'll take any last minute questions if you want to type them into the chat.
I'm assuming mine. Yeah, there we go. That's my email and my phone number.
Oh, you've got an Insta account.
Yes, it's just, you know what? I love the fact that we get to keep sharing what's going on day to day. So you get to see the pretty pictures of construction or design or whatever else, and we throw a few other bits and pieces on there. I think that's like the website is, it needs improving, but actually the website is annoyingly vague, because when you're running a 506c fund and your very paranoid advisors say things like, you basically can't say anything to anybody about anything that could be considered sales, you kind of end up with a really bland, boring website of, hey, we build houses and do investments if you'd like to talk to us. It doesn't do much else. But on Instagram, I can kind of just go for it and say fun stuff all day long.
You know what? We're gonna put this question up as the last question.
Okay.
What's your minimum investment? And I think you just mentioned that you're a 506c, right? So
We've
accredited
got a
investors
mixture.
only.
So we actually do 3 different methodologies. So we've got a 506c, which is like a medium-term growth play, and that specific fund is accredited investors, minimum investment of 25,000. We're largely marketing that through a wholesaler who goes to financial advisors who get it on board with their clients and so on, but anyone can invest in that. And that's a growth play. So I've called it 3-4 year thing. And there's a cool tax play in that. I'm not going to get into it now, but if anyone knows about IRA Roth conversions and the potential benefit of those, by investing with us in this particular fund, we can help reduce the tax you have to pay when you make that conversion, which is quite lucrative. So that's cool. We have a new fund launching in about 3 weeks, which is working with some Austin professionals who've been fundraisers for their whole lives. That's one where we're looking to raise 10 million in the next 6 to 8 months in Austin. And that will be, again, accredited investors through an SPV, a special purpose vehicle. But we also take individual investments. They can either be in a specific project, or more commonly, it's like a fixed rate, fixed term thing where someone could come along and be, I've got 50K, 100K, and I want to lock this up for 2 years or 3 years. I want to know what I'm going to get and when I'm going to get it. And it's just a very simple fixed note kind of principle. And we have a clever way of it not having to be an accredited investor. There's like a way around that in that situation. So we've got 25K, 50K, 100K, and we've got investors up to like 500,000 plus and kind of everything in between.
All right. People have already started doing it, but can you put in the chat, thank Daniel for coming in here. Daniel Brown. It's a little odd to have both two Daniels up here. So go ahead and thank Daniel Brown for coming in and being our speaker today.
Daniel is very happy to be thanked. I'm trying to bring the screen back up so I can enjoy reading those. Cool. Excellent.
All right. And of course, you can always go to the alternativeinvestingclub.com website to see who's coming up in the next weeks. On May 28th, I'm going to come back and give a report on the validation fund. I've found some very interesting news there, and actually, a lot of my potential fears have been dissuaded about the situation there. I think it's been correctly corrected. So I'll share about that on the 28th. Until next week, have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week.
Thank you all for having me.
All right. We'll end the stream. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.